So yesterday we saw footage of Caitlin Clark working out with the Indiana Fever. And there's one thing I didn't really notice at the time that's actually really important. Look at the ball she's using. Look at the ball that Caitlin Clark is using right now. Caitlin Clark is using the FIBA molten ball. And she is very clearly now getting used to playing with that ball for the FIBA World Cup qualifiers coming up in a couple of weeks. The USA training camp is at the weekend, I think. Like, it starts then. And this whole situation, when it comes down to it, with her using the FIBA ball, is big. And Team USA obviously posts about Team USA soon. Give her more minutes in the game and make more jerseys of her. Like, I still think they're going to just start. They're not going to lose. And it's a weird thing that, like, Team USA cares more about sentiment than anything else. They're not idiotic enough to not bring Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark. I think they might be dumb enough to bring Alyssa Thomas over Angel Reese. Like, at the international level, Angel Reese is way better. Like, for that type of team, Angel Reese is way better than Alyssa Thomas because Angel Reese has one transferable skill at the international level, and Alyssa Thomas isn't going to be allowed to bulldoze people at the international level. Like, people are like, oh, the game is more physical. I'm like, it is and it isn't. Like, it is more physical, but that Alyssa Thomas, those superstar bullshit calls. And by the way, like, you're not going to be allowed, you're not allowed hand check, but you're allowed body up in international play. So, like, if you keep your hands to the side, you're allowed body people up your chest, and Caitlin might struggle a little bit with that. But at the same time, you're not allowed hand check like Caitlin's been hand checked. At the end of the day, though, it is one of those things where I think that I think Caitlin Clark and Team USA are going to be fine. I'm very interested in seeing the Spain game, and I'm really interested in seeing, because if Awafam goes and dominates versus Aaliyah and Kiki Iriafen, she might go number one. If she doesn't dominate, she won't. Even though, like, I do think Awafam is going to be the best player in this draft with the way the new CBA is and the way the new contracts are structured. It probably doesn't make sense using her as a number one pick. The reality is that it's now looking more likely that Awafam might fall to 4. Just based on the teams, what they need and how quickly they need their players to step up and the way the contract situation works. Like, I think Minnesota might trade off their pick. Like, for Minnesota, unless they're dead set on Olivia Miles or Lauren Betts, like, the contract they might end up giving to, they realistically, unless they're certain Lauren Betts is better than Alana Smith, which I don't think she is, they might end up going and just running with it. But when it comes down to it, for these Team USA games, getting used to the basketball is so important. And I don't think people realize how big of a difference it is the way the ball grips. It's not easy to shoot with those FIBA balls if you're not used to them, especially the FIBA balls at the international level. Like, the FIBA balls that they use a lot of the time at club level are a lot closer to the balls they use in America than the international balls. Like, I remember it's not as bad anymore. The difference between an international and a club level ball in Europe isn't that bad anymore. Like, I don't know if they use the 4500s in international play. I don't think they do. But, like, back in the day, if anyone in Europe remembers the GG7s, the original GG7s and the GL7s for international play. I remember my first time ever playing for Ireland. Literally, the first ball. I remember the first practice we had with the national team. It was like the first pass got thrown to me, and I literally just dropped the ball and, like, just slipped like through my hands and hit me in the chest. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they were like, no, we're playing with international balls. Like, they're so hard to get used to. And I think when it's all said and done, that the overall, like, practicing with the ball helps. And the fact that she hit 22, 25 with the international ball, it's not as big of a gap in the women's as the men's. Because in the men's, it's a huge gap because the ball is slightly bigger. So with the ball being slightly bigger, it does make a difference. And the fact is, the international three-point line, if I'm not mistaken, is the same as the WNBA three-point line. So she has that advantage. And if you're Caitlin Clark, the average distance of her shot, it really doesn't matter. But it'll be interesting to see how Caitlin Clark gets on at the international level. Like, the courts, I think, are smaller. Maybe it's similar in the women's side, but I think the courts might actually be smaller at the international level. Even in, like, whether it's women's or men's, I think the courts might be smaller. So it becomes a really, really tricky situation then for a Caitlin Clark. And you're like, really like not built like that, but it's like, does her game suit that style of play? And that's a really interesting question, and which we will see. And it really just depends on what Carl Lawson wants to do. And like, if I'm like, whatever about the international style of play, you could impose yourself on a team, and it doesn't really matter. Like, the way the court is, the way these teams play. Like, if you're Team USA in the women's side, you have too much dominance in the front court, and I think you can impose yourselves, and you can kind of bring the pace up yourself. But it will be really interesting to see what ends up happening when it's all said and done with a lot of these teams, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Caitlin Clark. I think USA, the way things are being done, like FIBA literally have Caitlin Clark on their cover. So like if for the qualifiers, so if Caitlin Clark's there coming off the bench and playing 9 minutes a game, which isn't going to happen. My favorite thing is the Paige is gunning with Chelsea Gray for starting point guard, and they're like, Caitlin might be fighting with Jackie Young for 2 guard, and I'm like, Caitlin is genuinely terrible as a 2 guard. Like, not terrible by her standards. She is terrible by her standards. Like, she is by 100 miles the best point guard in the WNBA. But, like, she is, like, the 11th best shooting guard. Like, if you're asking me who is a better 2 guard, Caitlin Clark or even fucking current day Jewel Lloyd, there's a question mark there. And Jewel Lloyd was coming off the fucking bench for the Aces, albeit she was very good in the playoffs. But, and it's the same with point guard. It's like, is Paige the best 2 guard in the league? Either maybe her or Jackie Young, or Chelsea Gray, honestly. But I don't know, Kayla McBride as well. There's a couple of good 2 guards, but like Paige is probably better than all them, other than maybe Jackie Young. And Jackie Young's probably the only player in the conversation for point guard with Caitlin Clark, for who is a better point guard than Caitlin Clark when they're both actually at the one. Because like Jackie Young was the point guard for the Aces. I don't really care what anyone says. But I think Jackie Young can just start anywhere. She is plug and play. She's so fucking good at basketball. But yeah, it's a really interesting one anyway when it comes down to it, because you've got that, obviously you've got a plug and play player in a Jackie Young, and then you've got the a Caitlin Clark who really kind of has to be a system. But like realistically, Paige Bueckers, as far as point guards is concerned, like she's better than Courtney Williams. I don't know where you put her in point guards. It's like, is she better than Alyssa Thomas, who played the one last year? No. Is she better than Jackie Young at point? No. But I think she's a better player than Alyssa Thomas when she plays her position. And then it's the funniest thing if people are like, oh, Paige off the ball is really struggling on arrival. And it's like, yeah, because women's coaches are dumbasses. And it's nothing to do with gender, because you've seen it. Sydney Johnson does the same shit. Sydney Johnson does the exact same shit. He literally goes and he had Aaliyah Edwards and tried to make her a traditional center when she's like a modern stretch 5. We've seen what she does in Arrival, trying to make her a traditional back to the basket center, which she's not very good at, instead of making her a face-up player. It's like why I got so annoyed at Christy Sides and Stephanie White when they're like playing Caitlin off the ball equals Caitlin go stand in the corner. And I'm like, no, that's not what she's good at. And it's what they fucking did in Unrivaled. It's what they did when Courtney Williams came on the floor with Paige. Paige was told to go stand in that corner. And I'm like, I don't know, you need a Caitlin Chen type point, like a real point guard, like a Julie Alamont with Paige Bueckers. A Caitlin Chen worked perfectly in UConn, but obviously Caitlin Chen at the WNBA level. You need a Caitlin Chen, but better. Like even great, like she looked better with Ty Harris out there. Like if you were the Dallas Wings, your number one thing should be getting Julie Alamont. Because that will allow Paige Bueckers to play her game. Where she can, like Julie Alamont is fine. Like Julie Alamont got improved Kelsey Plum so much last year. Like as far as being winning is concerned. Because it meant that Kelsey Plum can still be that primary ball handler if needed. Can still be that player to initiate the pick and roll. But also, it allows Kelsey Plum to play her natural position, which is 2 guard. And with a point guard that will get her the fucking ball and not have her stand in the corner doing nothing. Which is why Julie Alamont might be the most underrated player in the W. And there's a 0% chance the Sparks might offer her a fucking max contract in restricted free agency. Like that's her importance level realistically. But yeah, so that is pretty much it. Like it's a really interesting situation what's happening with Team USA. So my guess is that they might start Kelsey Plum at point guard. They actually might. Like
They might start Kelsey. Like, I don't know if they're going to start Kalia Copper or Kelsey Plum. They're definitely starting Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray. I wouldn't even mind, because they've won a championship together. I don't mind. If you want to have Chelsea Gray playing the 3 as like your late shot clock shot creator, she's good at that. That's what she was for the Aces. But if you have Chelsea Gray initiating the offense, taking the ball up, like, you're going to have what happened in the Olympics of Japan just like going at her every possession and like trying to speed her up, and she struggled. Like, Germany fucking killed them to start it off. Like, even a Mariana Ortiz is going to have a field day going at Chelsea Gray, and kind of Chelsea Gray, who can't play fast basketball anymore, but can still create shots. But yeah, it's a really interesting one all around. But anyway, yeah, that's the video. See you guys.